Oh man. The whole point is to share it on here.
Oh yeah, that's right. Embarrass the shit out of yourself.
Keep the conversation, as random as possible.
And you're doing a fine job on your end.
What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to the lounge. I'm your host, Jukebox, back with another episode of Stardom. And with me today, we've got comedian Brad Miller. Man, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. How you doing today?
Fantastic, man. Doing these shows this is my little escape from reality, dude. So I love it.
I see the Black Mirror thing there, so that's a pretty escape from reality. Do you watch that show once in a while? I like that show.
I've seen bits and pieces of it. But no, my co-host on my other show, he has something called Black Mirror Productions.
Okay, that's what it is.
He does a lot of photo shoots and stuff, so it's actually camera related.
That's the connection. Got it.
Yeah. No, but the show is weird. Some of those episodes are good.
Weird is what makes the world go round.
It is, man. Some of the viral shit on social media now is extremely weird, but it's blowing up, It's
craziness.
So let's hear a little bit about you, man. Let everybody know a little bit about who you are.
Sure. Well, as you already pointed out, I'm a stand-up comedian. I've also done a lot of stage acting, improv over the years, probably 35 years worth of improv. And if you don't know what improv is, it's like the whose line is it anyway stuff. Yeah. And I like to do fun things, right? I mean, we all have our things we have to do in life, and there's things we choose to do. I choose to try to make people laugh. That's one of the things that I've been gifted with, hopefully, most days. We'll see how it works. But that's one thing I really try to do. I'm a husband, a father, grandfather. It's just life is it's been good to me. It's been real good to me. I've had ups and downs, but the reality is if you can keep smiling on the other side, you're going to do very good things. That's the kind of the ticket, right?
Yeah, of course, man. And that's kind of why I do this, is because just being able to, especially if I can make a comedian laugh, I know I'm doing a good job.
It's true. The comedians are the toughest audiences sometimes because they're also the most brutally honest. Sometimes, right? I've done many open mics over the.
You kind of need that in your life sometimes, though.
Yeah, I've done many open mics, and I usually get my best feedback from other comedians and stuff. Does this joke work or does it not work? And they say, well, if you fix this, change that, do this, it'll be a better joke. So it's a self-care group as well, right? We take care of each other in a lot of ways, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. And I think a big part of it is knowing your audience too. I'm sure, like when you're on that stage, kind of feeling them out.
Yeah. So tonight I got to do an MC shot for a club that's opening up. It's their ribbon cutting ceremony. And I know tonight they're doing, the dignitaries are coming in, the mayors, the senators, the state senators, people who are behind the scenes making this all happen up in Niles, Michigan. And I know the audience is, let's just say 45 plus. So right. I'm going to pull out, my 70s jokes and Kegger jokes and Gen X jokes and stuff like that, because it'll connect to that particular audience.
Oh yeah, exactly. That makes sense too. So, and I think the one thing I learned doing this is when I started out is I just have whoever on, and I noticed that some people just don't have the comical aspect or that the raw reaction that you kind of want sometimes.
Yeah.
So I've had people on, and an hour show is 25 minutes because they don't react or they don't respond the way that you want.
They're not talking or participating in the conversation, as they say.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So what I do for the show is I pick a random topic and then we kind of roll with it for the episode. And something pretty random happened to me this week, and we're going to use that topic. And basically, I was at work and my wife calls me. She's like, hey, I need you to come home. There's blood all over the house. And I'm thinking, okay, what the hell? And I get home and my daughter left her door open and she has birds. Well, the dogs went into her room and got the birds and ate them. So there was blood and feathers all over the house.
Is your dog's name Ozzy Osbourne?
No, but there was literally chunks of feather and blood on the walls. Like the birds were getting away and smacking themselves into the walls.
Oh my God. How many birds was it?
There were three cockatiels. Oh yes.
So if you got bird dogs now, is that what you're going to call them to go hunting?
No, actually, the funny thing is I'm pretty sure the culprit is our dachshund named Birdie.
Oh no, dachshund named Birdie. Is that that's kind of strange and obscure, right?
Yeah.
Wow, blood everywhere. I mean, my first thought is that my wife calls there's blood everywhere. It's like, oh, okay. What are you going to do with that? Who did you kill?
Yeah.
Should I bring a shovel? I'm not really sure how that's going to work.
Well, and I was thinking, okay, so she didn't say, "Oh, we're in the hospital or going to the hospital." So I figured it was either one of the animals. Because
You have a lot of animals.
Super frantic on the phone. Yeah, we got quite a few. We got 4 dogs.
4 dogs, yeah.
We
And
did have 3 birds.
Yeah, good number of birds. Were they like parrots or something like that?
They were cockatiels.
Well, that's not a cheap bird either.
No. It was about.
Either.
I was cleaning up about $1,200 worth of mess.
Yeah. I mean, it's one thing to go buy a couple of dollars worth of turtles at the pet store, but it's entirely different to have that much bird. So,
right. Do you have any pets?
I do. I have a couple of cats. They're old and fat, and they do nothing but sit around and yell at you for not feeding them on a regular basis. We've had 2 Dalmatians over the years, but they passed, and I really love my Dalmatians. Those are my dogs. Those were my dogs. The cats are my wife's. I don't. I have to feed them, but I don't do anything with them because they don't like me. So that's okay.
Cats are kind of independent too, anyway, so that's good.
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, I grew up on a farm. You talk about birds and stuff. So I grew up on a chicken farm, actually. And not only did we have chickens, but we raised pheasant and quail for the Department of Natural Resources.
Right.
So we'd raise these pheasant and quail. And first of all, let me point out something. If you've ever raised chickens, chickens are the stupidest animal on the planet. And I'll tell you why. They will eat each other if they don't get fed regular, and they will drown in less than an inch of water because they put their beaks too far in the water. They are the stupidest animal on the planet, and it's no wonder they're a food animal.
I didn't know that about chickens. I knew they were stupid. I didn't know they were that dumb.
When you raise them, you have to get little waterers, and you have to put marbles in the bottom of it so they can't get their beaks too far in, so they drown because their little nose holes are right there in the beaks. If they go too far down, they'll drown themselves. You come in the next morning, there's 8 chickens dead around the water carrier.
You hear about them getting eaten by like coyotes and stuff like that, but yeah, I don't know why they eat themselves is kind of weird.
Yeah, they for whatever reason, if they don't feel like they're getting fed enough or fed on a regular basis, they'll start to cannibalize each other, especially if you have large quantities of them.
How do they? Do you know? Is there like a certain way they pick which one they're going to eat?
I don't. The stupidest one, I guess. I don't know. What's going on here? I'm going to. Whichever one looks like a McNugget the most, I'm not sure.
I had 2 hamsters and one of them ate the other one. That was pretty interesting. That was odd. I was a kid too, so for me it was like, what the fuck happened to
No doubt. I had a friend of mine who's a science teacher, and he got an egg pot. I don't know why I'm on this subject, but
it's all good.
He got this egg pod of praying mantises. And when they hatched for like a week, these praying mantises would eat each other for dominance in this cage. It was just hysterical to watch. These little bitty praying mantises about 1.5 inches tall. And it was like this war. It was like Spartan warfare going on each other. It's great. I don't think it was a very man thing to watch, but it was just, I couldn't take my eyes off of it.
I'm pretty sure the females will actually eat the male after they.
I know they eat your head. Yeah, they'll kill them after sex or something. So it's best to be born a female mantis, I suppose. And a single child, evidently.
So we also had at one point we had 7 ferrets too. Those were fun.
Ferrets, really?
Ferrets.
Are they high maintenance? I've never had a ferret.
They're high maintenance, but if you have them on the right diet, they're not terrible. Because what'll happen is people that don't know enough about them, they'll get them just their basic food that you can buy at a store, and it's not very good diet for a ferret. What they need is like raw chicken, raw eggs.
They're kind of carnivores, aren't they?
Yeah. So if you do that and you're maintaining them, and then they're actually really fun pets. I mean, we would let them run around the house and everything. Yeah,
But you had like a whole gaggle of them. I mean, that'd been kind of interesting, right?
Yeah. Oh, it was a lot of fun. I loved them. And then we moved, and I had them in the basement, and I was like, man, it's just I didn't feel right having them down in our basement, stuffed in a corner. So I was like, hey, we should probably find a good home for these guys. So no more ferrets, but they went to good places.
I would have a ferret someday. That sounds like fun because I've seen obviously on social media, TikTok, and all that kind of stuff. They got pictures of ferrets and all kinds of ones. Like they look like they're fun, but I haven't had one. Never had one.
They are. They're kind of a mix between a cat and a dog, honestly, because like they have more the mentality of a dog, but when they play, they like pounce around like a cat would.
Right. Yeah.
And they're predators. So like
That's very cat-like too, right?
Yes, I know. When we had our when we first got our dachshund, we still had them, and they would grab the dachshund behind the neck and try to drag it into a corner.
Yeah. We're gonna have a hot dog for dinner. Yeah,
right. They're actually good fox hunters too. Like they train them to go down in these holes under trees to catch foxes.
That would be fun. I would enjoy that. I think I might look into that. Maybe if I just got rid of the wife, she might let me have one.
Yeah, they can smell a little bit, but it's all good. Anyways, for today's topic, I went with what the fuck moments because that story is kind of a what the fuck situation. So
right.
So I got a couple pictures here, and then we'll talk about them. How's that sound?
All right, sounds good. Bring it up.
First up, I'm gonna turn this. There we go. It says the coffee maker that saved my life a week ago. And if you look, the keurig
is the coffee maker to hold it up.
Yeah, the keurig. I've never woken up to a situation like that, but I do love my coffee.
I've never woken up to a situation like that either. But it really reestablishes the need for people to have coffee in their lives. I think that's important, just as a safety mechanism. I support that wholeheartedly.
Oh, and so does that keurig.
Yeah, it'd be a good advertisement for Keurig. Not only can we bring you caffeine, but we can bring you safety.
I have had a microwave in my kitchen that has fallen off of, and that was not fun to clean up because it fell on our stove.
What is that thing on the top? Go back. Can you
okay, yeah, I can pop it back up. What was that?
What's that thing?
It's like a little vase or something.
How did that stay up there?
I have no idea because I guarantee you that slid when it popped off.
Grandma Sylvia's remains are still in the vase up there, so we're good. I don't know what that is. Looks like a flower vase or something.
That's what I think. I think that's exactly what it is.
I don't know how it stayed, but it managed. I'm not dying today, bastards.
I do have to say, being a man, I don't read instructions a lot, so I have had things fall apart.
I don't think it's pretty clear that most. Well, I can't say that most. What is the term these days? Because I have to get this right. Most cis males probably start building something for quite a while before they get to the point it's like, I don't know how to do this. And then they go back to the instruction to kind of figure out what they were doing. And they have to take something apart a couple of times and then put it back together. I do that all the time, especially things from like these put together shelving units and things like that. I put together a baby banister, bassinet for my daughter. And it probably took me 2 hours. Now, I have to admit, I was drinking adult beverages at the time. That might have slowed me just a little bit. But the reality is it should have been a 15 or 20-minute job if I had just looked at the instructions first. But I had to take it apart twice before I went to the instructions. So I think it's just part of our makeup.
Yeah, I put together my daughter's bunk bed. And I didn't realize till I was putting the ladder on that I put the whole damn thing on backwards.
Yeah, I've done that.
And we're not talking, just little pieces that you stick together, like it was screws and nails and
yeah. And then I mean, today they've got these instructions. You read them, and it's like they got them numbered. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and they got they've tried to make them idiot-proof as much as they can. So they have number 1, and they have the picture of number 1 put it together, so you got to kind of follow the rules, kind of thing. It's like an old-style comic book, except you actually have to participate in the creation of it. So
yeah, it's almost like that so many people have messed up that they keep having to tweak the instructions.
It's probably because of insurance. So somebody's put it together wrong, so then they sued the original company. It's like, you didn't tell me how to do it right, so now I need $7 million because I don't know what hot water is.
I've talked about it before on here about Legos being so expensive because of how many parents have stepped on them and had to go to the hospital.
Oh my God, yes. They find themselves into places you'd never expect, right? I had 3 kids and we had stuff everywhere. Barbie PlayStations. We're still finding stuff in the carpets and stuff in the old bedrooms upstairs.
Oh yeah. Toys from 4 or 5 years ago, stuff in corners.
Yeah. We haven't had a Barbie in 18 years. Why is this here?
I know sometimes like we'll find something that my 6-year-old played with 3 years ago and she totally forgot about it. Then you find it and she's like, oh, I been looking for that.
Yeah.
No, this is going in the trash.
Yeah, we don't need this anymore.
All right, next up. It says, almost died this morning on the highway, bounced from left lane up in the air and impaled my windshield.
That's a 4x4, isn't it?
That is a 4x4.
A 4x4 in the window.
Yes.
Wow. Well, after I cleaned my pants, I mean, you can't get much luckier than that because it looks like it stops right at the steering wheel, doesn't it?
Oh, yep. Yes, it does. Yes,
Wow. Yeah, I'd consider cleaning my pants out first. And oh boy.
I don't know. I'd probably not want to drive for a little while.
I would certainly retreat back a little further from like industrial trucks and things like that. That's crazy.
I feel like that's a common fear, though. I mean, a lot of like when I'm driving behind a truck that's got like pipes or metal pieces behind them.
You know what's worse? I've seen these trucks, these big semis that have the rolls of steel that are like 6 feet tall and 5 feet wide or whatever. There's just one of them on the back of the truck. They got pieces of wood on each side and they're chained down. I was like, I'm just waiting for that chain to snap and that thing just roll backwards and flatten me out like a pancake.
Oh yeah,
because I think that I've never seen it. But it's just whenever I see it, I think about it. It's like, yeah, this would be a hell of a way to go. I'm just going to be flat, just flat.
all that truck needs to do is hit one good pothole.
That's it. Yeah, that little chain that some guy making minimum wage made in Taiwan is going to kill me.
I think the craziest wreck I seen was we were driving through Colorado, and this truck was pulling one of those big RV trailers, and one of the tires blew out on the RV and flipped the RV, which in turn flipped the truck. That was a crazy experience to see.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the weirdest one I ever saw was we were driving. A friend of mine had a car lot, and we went to this auction to get cars. And my wife and I and him had 3 cars, and we were driving these cars back from the auction. And we were driving down, I want to say it was the Indiana Toll Road, 80-90. I can't remember specifically. Doing, I don't know, 70 miles an hour down the road. And a rear trailer wheel, the whole wheel assembly, both tires and the assembly off of a tractor trailer came off. It was bouncing down the highway. And you could see 4 or 5 cars just drifting back and forth trying to get away from it. And it crashed into this small car and replaced where the engine was. I have no idea what happened to the occupant in that, but it was the crazy. I mean, I didn't pee myself, but I certainly was thinking about it. It was that close.
Yeah, man, there's some crazy experiences. I mean, I get why some people just are too scared to drive, especially if they see that kind of stuff.
That's something else. That's a phenomenon that's going on these days. Why is it now? When I was growing up, we couldn't wait to drive. I can clearly remember stealing my parents' car at 14. But these days, you get these kids that are 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, into their 20s, and they still haven't got a driver's license. What do you think? Yeah. What is that all about? I don't get it. Maybe I'm just old. But
see, I was the same way as you. Like, I love to drive, but now you've got so many options out there to not drive, like Uber and all these, Lyft and all these options for not needing to drive, I guess. Yeah. I mean, but I also feel like this younger generation has just gotten lazier and doesn't want to learn shit.
Well, that's part of it too, I guess. That's and we as a culture, as a society, made it that way for them. I mean, they are the output of our endeavors, right? The reason why they can and do the things that they do is because we made a world for them to be able to do that.
Right. And when I was 13, 14, 12, even 12, I remember just going blocks and blocks away from my house, playing till dark. Yeah. And my parents not caring. And now it's like, I don't even want my daughter going outside unless somebody's watching. Cause I don't, it's just,
I have to make sure that my 12-year-old grandson is armed before he goes. No, I don't do that.
Take the Swiss Army knife.
Yeah. Take this gun with you. Remember how to look this good.
Yeah. I spray painted your toy one. It's not real. Just not right. But no, it is. I mean, I feel like it might be that we're painted a picture of the world that has already existed, but now that there's so much footage out there,
you might. I mean, you're right. I think the people's understanding of the world today is the world has probably not changed as much. It's just more documented than it was 100 years ago.
Oh yeah, I mean,
I think that's a big part of it. Yeah.
If anything happens, if somebody catches it on a phone or whatever.
Yeah.
So.
Yep, absolutely.
So, all right, next up, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, let's see here. If it'll pop up. Come on now.
Bam.
Says when you find out the hard way that the Italian restaurant's hand sanitizer looks exactly like olive oil.
Oh my God. Hopefully it's lemony fresh hand sanitizer. Oh man, that would suck.
The The reason I use this one is because when COVID hit, there was so many different types of hand sanitizer, and some of them were just god awful smelling.
Yes, you are so true. COVID was an interesting experience across many. I remember buying. We went to, and this is in the heat of COVID. We went to a distillery about 20 miles from here, and we wanted to get some bourbon supplies and liquor supplies because you couldn't buy it everywhere. And they were like, we're going to be open for 1 hour, and you have to stand behind the line and all this kind of fun stuff. But they were also to help their business stay afloat. They were selling sanitizer that smelled like whiskey. And I'm thinking, this is awesome until I get pulled over.
Right. Yeah, actually, the liquor stores around here had like $7 or $8 for a bottle of sanitizer that looked like vodka.
I think we still have like 5 or 6 gallons of it if you're interested. So.
Yeah, and then we even had our company here, and I don't know how big it made it, but there's a company that would come every night and just like they had this like fog that they would go around and spray the whole store every night before the next day.
Yeah. COVID, the company I work for did the same thing. And we'd have our third shift would go through, and that was their job, was to fog the whole place down. And we had, plexiglass dividers in front of people. It was insane.
And nowadays, if somebody's like, "Oh, I got COVID," it's like, okay, whatever. But 3 years ago, it was like, "Stay the hell away from me."
You got your COVID badge 3 years ago. Get over it.
I've had it 4 times now. So
I had 4 times. I had it once. I might have had it twice or 3 times. I really don't know. I know one time I had it. One time was diagnosed. The rest of the time, I don't care. I was sick. I moved on with life.
Well, so the first one was like whatever. The second one was really bad, and then the other 2 were whatever, But it's just like getting sick is getting sick,
That's it. This one had a particular name.
Yeah. And then it's funny to me that the flu didn't exist for a little while there. It was just COVID.
Yeah, everything was COVID. It's still COVID, right? He died of a massive coronary. No, it was COVID. No,
it's still COVID.
His heart exploded, but COVID killed him. So it's all money. I don't want to get all negative on your show here.
No, this show's all about.
It's all money. Everything is money, and you find hospitals and drug companies and stuff just making a mint off of taxpayer money because they could, and it was supported. And half of the country is like, yes, take more money from us. We'll stay in here and watch video games.
Yeah. No, and I think a lot of people recently have been talking about it, and I don't talk politics on here, but some people either like, oh, well, election's coming around. They're talking about another spike in COVID.
Yeah, it's crazy. And, it's almost comical. If it wasn't so serious, it would be, I can remember, and again, I'm not going to get political on you, but I can clearly remember 6 years ago, a little bit more than 6 years ago, somebody said, well, what if he wins? And I said, well, it'd be really funny to watch if you were Canadian. And I think that's still a true fact. I mean, the world watches us and goes, you guys are freaking stupid.
Oh my God. It's funny because the world sees us, but we don't see the world, because I feel like our news blocks a lot of that from us.
Yeah. Have you ever traveled outside the country?
No, but I've had people on here from outside the country. So
you get you ever get a chance, I highly recommend it. You get a different perspective, 1, of the world, and 2, how youthful and young this country is in comparison. The rest of the world is just, it feels older. Right. And there's a different feel to it all. So if you get a chance, I highly recommend it.
Yeah, no, and I would love to actually at some point, go to Canada or Europe or something like that.
Yeah, I gained 100 pounds just to go to Mexico because I'd be harder to carry if I got kidnapped. So there's that.
Now they usually like to take dogs and stuff them with drugs and bring them back over. I had a guy on from Australia, and he said, he's like, it's funny to me to see all the ads for drugs in your country. He's like, that's not something you see. He's like, any pill, they're constantly advertising medicine. Right
I just saw something recently about that. There are 2 countries that advertise drugs on their television. Was New Zealand and the United States. It's illegal anywhere else, which I thought, because you can't even turn on a television, cable, streaming, or otherwise, without seeing some sort of drug commercial. Either on or before or during the program you're watching, if it's a standard program. It's just all the time. There's always something. And the names of these drugs, prosciutto. If your eyes bulge and you got blood coming out of your nose, please see a physician. How is this helping you?
Are you tired? Yeah, I am. You might need this medicine.
Yeah, give me some standard diagnosis for everybody. Are you feeling tired and run down? Do you feel old? Do you hate getting up in the morning? Well, we've got a drug for you.
And then they spiel all that stuff at the very end real fast so you don't hear it.
If you have anal bleeding, stop taking. If I have anal bleeding, I'm going to the hospital.
I see her and talk to you, yeah. All right, next up. Says, I'm just trying to refund 2 tickets.
American Airlines.
2 hours and 57 minutes.
Wow. I've had to do that to try to get some refunds on tickets. And
Right.
It is a very long, arduous process. I feel bad for whoever that was, but 2 hours is ridiculous considering the size of the company they're dealing with, right?
Yeah.
These are airline companies, and contrary to popular opinion, they've got a business to run. They're probably turning a profit because they've got investors. And the fact that they treat their customers like that is ridiculous in my mind. I just can't understand it, how they get away with it. But then again, as a public, we try to find the cheapest tickets we can. So we're driving their prices down constantly.
Oh, yeah.
Right? We always want to have a cheaper ticket, cheaper way. And that's why we have Walmart too, by the way.
Yeah. And Walmart's a whole nother subject in itself.
That is true. I feel bad for that person, whoever that was, who had to wait that long, but I have been there, and it's agonizing. I would suggest that anybody in the public who has an airline ticket they want to get refunds on, make sure battery's fully charged, have snacks, maybe some water to rehydrate. But I don't know any other way around it, but just wait it out. It's like a storm, right? You got to wait the storm out before you can get better.
Yeah, and I've had to wait, 45 minutes, hour max, and that is infuriating. But I don't think I could do it. I don't think I could wait 2 hours and 57 minutes.
When the live operator comes on, you just put it on your speakerphone, and you're just sitting there listening. You're doing something else, and you hear a voice going, "Yes, sir. How may I help you?" What?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I remember what I was doing now. That was 2 hours ago. I had a nap and a hamburger since then.
Right. I actually had one experience where I actually jumped over to take another line while I was waiting. And then when I came back, they had hung up on me.
Oh, you need to wait another hour.
Yeah. Then you got to call them back. And I'm pretty sure it had something to do with getting my my license plate for my car or something. It actually wasn't that long ago. But it took forever, man. I was on the phone for so long.
And I don't know, maybe it was just my imagination, but it seems like the de-evolution of customer service on the phone has gotten worse over the years.
Oh yeah.
I can clearly remember not that long. Well, when I say that, not that long, but 10 years ago, maybe you could call up, talk to a live person. You didn't have to hit 17 buttons to get there, know a code, get the pass from the president so that you could talk to somebody live, but you had to walk through all this stuff. I don't remember that being that way early on in my life, but here in the last decade or two, man, that's just become standard practice.
Yes. Yeah. And
then you talk to somebody named Cheyenne who does not have a Cheyenne accent.
Right. I was actually just about to say that. It's funny when the actual companies don't want to answer you, but then you get the call from the spam companies and they're harassing you and they're constantly on it.
Yeah. I set my phone up. So unless you're in my friends, my contacts list, the phone doesn't even ring. So if I don't know you, you're not calling me. You're going to leave a message. Fine. I might call you back.
The fact that that's an option is fantastic. I should look into that.
Yeah. I found it. I don't remember who told me about it or where I saw it, but I set it up. So if the phone call comes in, it's not in my contact list, it goes right to voicemail.
I love it.
I don't even hear it ring.
Now, do you get the text though? Like, do people text you?
Yeah, I'll get text messages and stuff like that. But usually I just get a ton of those. That's probably my most busiest app is text message. I get through 100 text messages a day. So
it's like emails, man. My wife always gets mad at me because she's like, "Why don't you delete your emails?" I'm like, I see what I need to see, and I close the app.
Yeah, that's right. I saw what I wanted to see. I'm on.
All right, next up.
Says,
this is my view from the bathroom floor looking at the hole in the ceiling I just fell through.
Oh, well, I've heard of glory holes, but I don't think that's what they're talking about. I've seen some porn in my day, but that's not it.
That's not it, man. I actually have fallen through a ceiling once, and it was not pleasant. It was an older house, but yeah.
Wow. I don't know. What's that immediate thought, just as you realize, like, I'm going through the floor? What am I thinking right now?
It was like, shit, I messed up.
That would be fun. Well, no, that wouldn't be fun. It'd be dangerous. But that instant thought is like, gravity works.
It was one of those things where it was an older house that had those little doors in the upstairs bedrooms where you could go into the attic. And I was like a young kid, and I got my friends to go in there with me, and we were playing on the beams with all like the insulation in between the beams, and I fell through the.
Wow! Did you get like stabbed or scratched with the wood or anything like that?
I fell on our coffee table, and I got my nose pretty good when I was a kid. Yes.
Wow. Was mom and dad pleased with you that day?
My mom was not pleased with my dad because she came home and I just had some newspaper on my nose, and I was
newspaper.
And there's blood everywhere.
Yeah, put that on there. You got blood everywhere. Where are the birds?
Dad had been drinking, so here, put some newspaper on there. Mom will deal with it. She gets some.
Speaking of dads, I mean, I didn't fall through a roof, but what you think about dads being drunk? When I was a kid, I was probably 9 or 10. We went camping. We had like this family reunion, or whatever. I don't know if you like marshmallows, like roasted marshmallows over a fire. So there's like 24 cousins all around the fire with these marshmallows on sticks that we had to cut from the woods and stuff like that. Now, They didn't give lessons to the young kids about when your marshmallow catches on fire, blow it out. Don't shake it out.
Yes.
So you can picture this now, that one of the cousins is like, oh, my marshmallow's on fire. I will shake it out. This flaming marshmallow sticks me right in the face. And then I had 9 drunk uncles putting butter on me, pouring beer on me, trying to make me feel better. That was hysterical.
Now maybe.
Yeah. It was kind of traumatic. I don't even like marshmallows today, but I'm not really sure.
I wonder why.
I don't know.
No, and that's funny because to me, marshmallows, like we'll do that out in our yard sometimes. Our neighbors will come out. We got a little pit and we do marshmallows and stuff. And I'm always like, man, if that sticks to somebody, that's not going to be easy to get off.
Oh no! I mean, it wasn't. I didn't get burned real bad. Fortunately, the fire part was kind of out where that stuck on me. It singed my hair up a little bit, but I had a butch back then anyway. But it didn't do any real permanent damage other than, I had this fiery marshmallow and I'm just getting inundated from my uncles with beer. They're dumping beer on me to pour it out, which was, it's my first alcohol effect. So it was nice. I enjoyed that.
So I got out of high school as a sous chef. I went to culinary school. I was a sous chef.
Really? Cool.
I was a sous chef for a few years. And I remember one time I was pulling a rack of ribs out of a steamer and I had barbecue sauce on it. And it was like 450 degrees. And I tilted the sheet too much and the barbecue sauce went down my arm.
Oh.
And that was, 3rd degree burns, trying to get that barbecue sauce off. Like it was so sticky.
Yeah, that's. Do you still do a lot of cooking?
Yeah, I love cooking, man. I work in a food department where we work now, so
yeah, that's cool. That's cool. I mean, as a larger guy, I enjoy cooking. I also enjoy eating it as well. So that's one of my,
I never had a specific like plate that I like to make. I just like being able to present something that looked appealing too.
Mm-hmm.
So
I've been getting into smoking meats and stuff here lately. I got a pellet smoker and we've been smoking briskets and chickens and ribs and all that kind of stuff. And boy, you can spend a lot of money doing that, but it's really good eating.
Yes. Actually, that's one area where I never really got the experience until the last couple of years. I bought a smoker at a thrift store for like $30.
Yeah.
Old standing Brinkman.
Mine's a hand-me-down pellet smoker. Pellet smoker. So.
And but I love it, man. We usually do, we'll do ribs or, I would like to try, because this is so old. I'd like to get one of those like hook screws and screw it into the top and like hang racks of like
hang it down. Yeah. I've been trying. I got a recipe. A friend of mine, my brother lives in Tennessee, and he had this guy make these. It was smoked bologna. It was a loaf of bologna. It's like freaking like a football, and he'd smoke it. And man, I don't know if you like bologna or not, but
I do.
It's hard to go back after you've had smoked bologna to regular bologna. I can tell you that.
Yeah, I'm the only one in this house that'll eat it. Yeah, I'm the only one that'll
eat it. Yeah, well. It's like spam. It's an acquired taste.
I argue with my wife quite a bit about it being just like a hot dog, and she'll say, "No, it's not." She's like, "No, it's not." I'm like, "It's literally the same ingredients."
Literally the same ingredients. Yep.
My mom used to heat them up in the microwave and give us some and fold them up in the bread and say, "Here's a hot dog."
Wow. I mean, bologna is just pancakes. It's pancake hot dogs. I think is all it is. That's the only difference, right?
Did you ever get like a frog in a logs, or you ever heard of a frog in a log?
Frog in a log. No, what's that?
My mom she would toast bread and then she'd hollow out the inside and put an egg in it.
Oh yeah. We called them sand dollars, actually. Yeah. I had those.
We called them frog in the logs.
Frog in a log. It was sand dollars up here. So that was yeah. It's just a piece of bread with the center out of it and an egg inside of it. You know, like you cook it like with a little butter in a pan or something like that.
Yep.
Yeah, it's good eating.
Nice and easy. Actually, until I got my wife, I had no idea that cinnamon rolls and chili were a thing. But
really,
you make the cinnamon roll and then you skip the chili on it and eat it. It's actually pretty good.
I never thought of the two going together.
Me either.
I mean, chicken and waffles was a surprise to me too, but cinnamon rolls and chili—that sounds interesting. I'll have to try
that. It's worth experiencing at least. You'll either like it or you won't.
I'll have to experience it. Yes.
All right, you ready for the next one?
Let's do it. I'm ready.
All right. It says guy parks on the stripes thinking he can avoid the freezing rain, only to be under a leaky pipe.
Oh man. That's a lot of water, a lot of ice.
That's a lot of ice.
What kind of car is that? I can't even tell what kind of car it is.
I have no idea. Maybe is it the Hyundai symbol? I think.
Yeah, some sort of Hyundai, I guess.
I don't think he'll be driving that anytime soon.
No, not anytime soon. I mean, most people, if you have an ice scraper and stuff like that, it's inside the car to begin with, unless you carry it in your pocket.
Yeah, if it's in his trunk, he's definitely not getting it.
Oh God, I don't know. I mean, that's pretty bad.
That's a lot
of ice.
That's happened. Crazy. That's happened here. I don't know. I think it was like 2006, 2007. There's a crazy ice storm, and I remember you could literally like skate across your yard because it was so much ice.
Yeah, I've had some interesting ice storms here. The last one was 2 years ago. Yeah, so I clearly remember seeing my feet in the sky when I fell down the steps, and I had like these line bruises across my back where I'd hit the stairs like they're at the perfect angle. Bam! I had these straight lines right across my back. I had 4 of them because I hit hard. I didn't break anything or hurt it. My pride was hurt, but boy, I tell you what, that surprised you right there.
You see videos on social media of people falling on ice all the time, and I'm like, man, I know I've done that. I can't remember when, but I know I've done it.
And it hurts, and I suppose I got lucky. I haven't broken anything, but it's a pride thing more than anything else. Because the first thing you do is you get up, is like, okay, was nobody's watching? All right, we're good. Okay, good. I can tell the story how I want to hear it.
And I don't know if you're like me at all, but I know if I'm falling, I try to at least make it somewhat comical so I can laugh at it too.
For me, it was like I can remember seeing my feet, and my coffee was emptying itself into the sky. It was almost like in slow motion as the coffee was spreading upwards and stuff. And I was on my way to work, and I fell and hit hard, and I didn't really think much of it. But I come home that night after work, and I'm just sore than I'll get out of my backside. And there's these line bruises, like 4 of them, right across my back where I hit the steps. My wife laughed.
Does the weather? You're in Indiana, right?
Right. Yeah, northern Indiana, just south of the Michigan line.
I'm guessing the winters there can be pretty brutal too, right?
It can be. What we get a lot of, which people don't understand unless you live here, or maybe Erie, Pennsylvania, or places like that, or Buffalo, is what's called lake effect snow. So not only do you get system snow, which is just regular weather patterns that come across the area,
right?
But because the water is warmer in Lake Michigan, if the wind is coming from the north to the south east, it picks up all that moisture off of Lake Michigan and dumps it right on top of us.
Right.
So we get a lot of lake effect snow more than anything else.
Hey, I really appreciate you coming on today, and I'd love to continue this, but I've got like 4 dogs upstairs barking their asses off right now, and I'm not sure what's going on, so I probably need to go figure out what that is.
All right, Jude. Thank you so much for having me on today.
But yeah, it's been a hell of a show, and I'd love to have you on again, man. These shows go about 40 minutes to an hour, so
yeah, get a hold of me. I'll be happy to do it.
Yeah. Hey, and until next time, everybody, I appreciate y'all tuning in. And again, I'm sorry to cut it a little short on you, man, but I do appreciate you coming on.
All right. Thanks, you. Bye.
Yep. Have a good day.